February 1st, 1942, 0 hours, the vast expanse of the Central Pacific. Aboard the USS Enterprise CV-6, America's gray Leviathan slicing through the swells like a predator on the hunt. Alarms blare across the flight deck, sharp, piercing wails that cut through the salty air like knives. You can almost feel the vibration in your chest, the deck plates rumbling underfoot as sailors snap to action. The sun hangs low, casting long shadows over the parked SBD Dauntless dive bombers, their wings folded like resting birds, oblivious to the chaos erupting around them. Anti-aircraft guns thunder in unison. Pum-pum! Palm-spitting tracers into the sky, desperate to claw down the incoming threat. High above a Japanese Mitsubishi G4M bomber, codenamed Betty by the Allies, trails black smoke from its starboard engine, flames licking at the fuselage like hungry demons. Its wounded dying but not done. The pilot, faceless behind his cockpit glass, pushes the stick forward, committing to a final suicidal plunge. This isn't just a bomb run. It's vengeance incarnate, one of the war's earliest kamikaze-style attacks, aimed straight at the heart of the Enterprise, the Big E, the Navy's most prized carrier, home to over 3,000 souls, and the spearhead of America's fragile Pacific Fleet. On the deck, aviation machinists. Mate third-class Bruno Gaido freezes for a split second. He's no pilot, no gunner by trade. Just a 22-year-old mechanic from Illinois, grease under his nails from tinkering with engines all morning. But the air is thick, with the acrid stench of cordite and burning avgas. Shouts echo incoming, brace for impact. Pilots scramble toward their cockpits, feet pounding the wooden planks. Gunners swivel their 40mm Bofors and .50 calibers, pouring lead skyward, but the Betty weaves through the flak, engines howling in defiance. Gaidio's battle station is aft near the island superstructure, but his eyes lock on the descending horror. It's close now, maybe 1,000 feet and dropping fast. Wings wobbling, but trajectory locked. The carrier's deck is a sitting duck, crammed with fueled planes and ordnance. One hit here and it's a chain reaction. Explosions ripping through the hangar deck, firestorms engulfing everything. You've seen the newsreels of Pearl Harbor. You know what that looks like. Twisted metal men screaming as they burn. The crew holds its breath. Captain George D. Murray barks orders from the bridge, his voice steady but urgent over the intercom. All hands repel the attacker. But the guns aren't enough. The Betty's too low, too committed. Tracers zip past it, missing by inches. A wingman in a nearby Zero peels off, drawing fire, but this Betty, it's the real killer. Gaidio's heart pounds like a war drum. Training drills flash through his mind. Stay at your post, follow orders. Survive the fight, but orders? There are none for this. The chain of command is a blur in the pandemonium. Self-preservation screams run, dive below decks, find cover logic whispers. It's hopeless, that plane's going to slam right into the amidships, turning the Enterprise into a floating pyre. But Guido, he chooses defiance. He breaks from his station, legs pumping as he sprints across the open deck exposed. A human target in the crossfire. Bullets whine overhead from friendly fire gone astray. The wind whips his uniform, salt spray stinging his eyes. He's heading straight for a park. Dauntless SBD-2 from Scouting Squadron 6. Its rear turret unmanned twin .30 caliber Browning machine guns gleaming in the morning light. 10 seconds, that's all he has. The Betty's nose dips lower, engine sputtering but propeller still biting air. You can hear it now, the roar growing deafening like a freight train barreling down. Crewmen nearby gape in shock. What the hell is he doing? One yells, is it suicide? Heroism madness. Guido leaps onto the wing, scrambles into the gunner's seat, hands gripping the cold metal of the guns. He swings the turret around, sights aligning on the incoming beast. The Betty fills his vision, rivets visible smoke billowing. The pilot's silhouette grim and determined. Squeeze the triggers, rat-tat. Tat-tat, the guns buck in his grasp, brass casings ejecting like golden rain. But will it be enough? The plane's wing is shearing, twisting under the hail of lead, but it's still coming impact in 5-4. The twin .30 caliber Brownings roar to life in Bruno Gaidio's hands. The recoil slams into his shoulders like twin sledgehammers, but he holds the grip steady, thumbs mashing the triggers in short, disciplined bursts. Brass shells cascade across the Douglas's rear cockpit, pinging off the armor plate, the hot metal smell mixing with gunpowder and jet fuel. The muzzle flashes strobe across his face. Bright blinding. turning the morning into a stuttering nightmare. The Betty is enormous now. 50 yards 40. You can see the oil-streaked belly, the red Hinamaru rising sun insignia smeared with soot, the pilot's canopy reflecting the Enterprise's gray hull. Like a mirror of doom, Guido doesn't flinch. He walks the stream of fire upward. Tail fuselage wing route. Each tracer, a glowing orange bead, stitching across the bomber's skin. Sparks erupt, a fuel line ruptures. A thin ribbon of flame whips backward. The right wing buckles under the punishment, metal screaming as rivets pop and spars twist. The Betty yawns violently, left nose dipping even steeper. But the pilot fights the controls, refusing to break off. He's going to ram the carrier or die trying. 30 yards, Gaidio's arms burn. The gun's overheat, smoke curls from the barrels. He keeps firing, a burst catches the engine nacelle. Black smoke billows thicker. The propeller slows to a lazy blur. The bomber slew sideways, starboard wingtip slicing downward like a guillotine. 20 yards, the deck crew throws themselves flat. Some dive behind tied-down chains, others simply stare mouths open, unable to look away from the man who chose to stand in the path of death 15 yards. The wing shears not cleanly, messily, catastrophically. The outer panel folds upward like torn paper, then rips free in a shower of aluminum shards. The Betty rolls hard right out of control, its dive turning into a flat spin. The fuselage slams into the sea just off the starboard quarter, maybe 30 feet from the carrier's hull. A geyser of white water explodes upward, drenching the flight deck in freezing spray. The impact concussion rattles every rivet on the Enterprise. Men stagger, ears ringing. Flame blooms briefly on the surface, then gutters out as the Pacific swallows the wreckage. Silence falls sudden, shocking. Broken only by the distant bark of anti-aircraft guns still chasing the escorting. The Betty is gone, the Enterprise is intact. Gaido slumps against the gun mount, chest-heaving sweat stinging his eyes. His hands are blistered knuckles, white around the grips. The Brownings are smoking barrels too hot to touch. He looks down at the deck, brass everywhere, a few smoking holes where stray rounds punched through the planking. Crewmen begin to rise dazed, staring at him as if he's a ghost who just walked out of a wall. Someone yells his name, Guido. Half question, half prayer. Others rush forward, a boatswain's mate, a radio man, even a lieutenant from the air group. They haul him down from the turret, slapping his back, gripping his shoulders. Words tumble out, "You crazy son of a bitch. You saved the ship, how the hell did you know?" He doesn't answer right away. He's still watching the spot where the bomber vanished. The water now calm again, as if nothing happened. His legs feel like rubber. Adrenaline is draining fast, leaving nausea and a strange, hollow quiet inside his skull. But the Enterprise steams on. Engines throbbing, planes still parked. Men still alive. Captain Murray appears at the edge of the island, binoculars lowered, face unreadable, behind the salt-crusted glass. He nods once, sharp, deliberate, then turns back to the bridge. The word is already spreading below decks, through passageways into the ready rooms. One machinist, one parked plane. 10 seconds, the attack is over. But the war has just gained a new name to whisper in awe. What happens when the Navy realizes what Bruno Gaido has done, and what they decide to do about the man who disobeyed every instinct to save them all? The flight deck still reeks of cordite and scorched aluminum. Water drips from the starboard railings where the bombers splash, soak the planks. Men move slowly. At first stunned, mechanical, like survivors stepping out of a dream they haven't quite escaped. A damage control party hoses down stray embers that drifted aboard. On the wind, the ship's PA crackles once, twice. Then Captain Murray's voice cuts through, calm as polished steel secure from general quarters. Well done, Enterprise. Well done, but the words feel distant. Almost ceremonial, everyone's eyes keep drifting back to the machinist, still standing beside the Dauntless turret. Bruno Gaido wiped sweat from his brow with a grease-stained sleeve, leaving a dark streak across his forehead. His uniform is soaked through sweat spray. Maybe a little blood from where hot brass casings burned the backs of his hands. He doesn't notice he's staring at his own fingers, flexing them as if surprised they still work. A chief aviation boatswain's mate, big man voice like gravel, pushes through the gathering crowd and grips Guido by both shoulders. Son, you just pulled the trigger on history. You know that Guido manages a half smile. More reflex than joy, just didn't want to get blown up today. Chief laughter ripples, short, nervous. grateful someone hands him a canteen. He drinks without tasting. The reality is sinking in now. Layer by layer, the guns he fired weren't even supposed to be his. He wasn't qualified as an aerial gunner. He'd never sat in that turret before. Yet the Browning's iron sights had lined up perfectly, muscle memory from endless small arms drills on the fantail, taking over when training failed him. Word races below decks faster than any runner. In the hangar, mechanics pause, mid-wrench turn. In the wardroom, officers lean toward radios repeating the same fragmented report. Single enlisted man aviation machinist's mate, engaged enemy aircraft from parked SBD, wing sheared, no damage to ship. In the ready rooms, pilots who'd been scrambling to launch now sit frozen, helmets in laps, realizing they might never have gotten airborne if that Betty had struck true. By 0900, the Big E is steaming at flank speed, zigzagging to throw off any follow-up strike. Damage control teams sweep the deck for shrapnel. The photographer's mate official combat cameraman snaps hurried pictures. The smoking Browning's the brass litter. Guido himself being half-carried, half-dragged towards sickbay by two corpsmen who insist he get checked, even though he swears he's fine. In sickbay, the surgeon, Lieutenant Commander Thomas, peers at Gaidio's blistered hands under the surgical lamp. "You're going to feel those tomorrow, son." Gaido shrugs better than feeling nothing. The doctor chuckles despite himself, then grows serious. "The captain wants to see you soon as you're patched up on the bridge." Captain Murray stands with his arms folded, staring at the empty horizon where the Betty disappeared. His executive officer, Commander William B. "Short steps close, sir." The men are already calling it Gaidio's jump. They say he ran straight into the gun's line of fire. Our own tracers were whipping past him and still got the shot off. Murray nods slowly. He disobeyed standing orders to remain at battle station. Could have been court-martialed if it went wrong. A beat. Lucky for us it didn't. He turns to the talker. "Signal the air group commander. I want a full report on that Dauntless ammunition expenditure. Barrel condition, anything, and find out exactly how many rounds Guido fired." The answer comes back fast. Approximately 180 rounds. Enough to empty one belt and start chewing into the second. Enough to turn a crippled bomber into scrap before it could turn the Enterprise into a funeral pyre. By noon, the story has legs. Sailors cluster around Guido wherever he goes. Mess line passageways. Even the head, they want to buy him coffee. Cigarettes, a drink. When they next make port, he waves them off, embarrassed. But the gratitude is a living thing pressing in from every side. Yet beneath the backslaps and quiet thanks, a question simmers among the senior officers. What do you do with a man who just saved your ship by breaking every rule in the book?